The storm he never expected. Keanu Reeves didn't notice the rain when it started. He didn't feel the drops, even though they ran down his face like tears. Just sat there, still on the cold metal bench outside the old film studio. His black coat was soaked, his hair stuck to his forehead. His hands were folded in his lap, trembling slightly, though from the cold or from something deeper, he wasn't sure. No one walked that street anymore. Not since the studio closed down 6 months ago. They called it a shutdown for renovation. But Keanu knew better. It wasn't the building that needed fixing. It was the people inside it. It was the silence that grew louder between scenes. It was the way his smile had stopped reaching his eyes. He had filmed some of his best memories here. But now, it was just a place filled with ghosts. His footsteps still echoed in the empty hallways of his mind. He didn't plan to come here, just found himself walking without direction, and somehow his legs brought him back. He sat because he didn't know what else to do. And then, without warning, a soft voice broke the silence. "You look like you're waiting for something that won't come." Keanu turned slowly, standing there under a simple umbrella, holding a thermos in one hand and a small cloth bag in the other, was Ana de Armas. He blinked once, not because he didn't recognize her. He could never forget her face, but because she looked exactly the same as the last time they spoke, which was over a year ago. Maybe more. "Anna," he said quietly, his voice almost lost under the rain. "You're here." She nodded, stepping closer. "I almost didn't come," she said, "but I saw the news. They said you walked off set yesterday, just disappeared." Gave a weak smile. Not the first time someone's walked away from something. Anna didn't laugh. She didn't even smile. She sat down beside him without asking, even though the bench was wet. She placed the cloth bag between them and poured 2 cups of coffee from the thermos. The steam rose like hope from the cups. Keanu took one. Their fingers touched, just for a second. So she said, "What happened this time?" He sipped. Slowly, the coffee was warm, a little too sweet, just the way she used to make it during long nights on set. He held the cup with both hands. "I don't know," he said finally. "Maybe I just got tired of pretending I'm okay," Anna nodded. She didn't rush him. She just sat in the rain with him, as if that simple act was enough. "People always think I'm strong," he whispered. "They look at me like I'm some hero, like I'm the one who never breaks. But that's not true." "I know. It's not," she replied. "I saw the cracks before anyone else did." He looked at her, his eyes tired. "Then why did you leave?" "I didn't leave," she said gently. "I gave you space. You needed it. And I waited. I waited until you stopped pushing everyone away." Keanu looked away. "I didn't mean to push you away." "No," she said. For a long time there was only the sound of rain. Then Anna reached into the cloth bag and pulled out something small. It was wrapped in soft velvet. She handed it to him. "What is this?" he asked, surprised. "Open it." His fingers hesitated, but then he slowly unwrapped it. Inside was a tiny carved wooden figure. A man and a woman, back to back, holding hands behind them. The carving was simple, but the meaning was deep. It was them. "You carved this?" he asked, eyes wide. Anna smiled softly. "I had someone carve it, based on a sketch I drew." "The night after you first told me your story?" Keanu stared at the figure. The memories returned like a wave. The long talk they had at 2 a.m. after a wrap-up party. How he told her about the pain he carried, the losses he endured. She had listened that night without judgment. Now she was still listening. "Why give this to me now?" he asked. "Because you need to remember that you're not alone. Out. And you never were." He swallowed hard. His throat ached. The figure felt heavier than it looked. "I don't know if I can go back," he said. Anna leaned forward, her voice steady. "You don't have to go back. But you can go forward. You just have to choose which direction. And you don't have to walk alone." Keanu looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked down at the figure. The rain didn't matter anymore. Cold had faded. "I thought I lost everything," he said. "You didn't," she replied. "You just forgot where to look." They sat in silence again, but this time it was peaceful, not empty. The storm around them was still there, But something inside Keanu had shifted. It was small, quiet, but real. Something was beginning again, and he wasn't alone anymore. The warmth he didn't know he needed. Next morning, the sky was still gray, but the rain had stopped. Puddles reflected the dull light, and the air felt cleaner somehow. Keanu Reeves stood at the edge of the old film studio's lot, holding the small carved figure Anna had given him. It was still in his coat pocket, wrapped in the same velvet cloth. He hadn't let go of it since last night. He didn't sleep much. He spent the night in his small apartment, sitting on the couch, thinking about everything he'd said to Anna, and everything he hadn't. He wasn't ready to face the world, but he wasn't running from it either. Not today. His phone buzzed. It had been silent for days, ignored under blankets and guilt. Now, for some reason, he looked at the screen. It was a message from Anna. "I'm going back to that bench. You should come. I brought something again." Keanu didn't even hesitate, grabbed his coat, put on his old boots, and headed out. When he arrived, she was already there. Same bench, same calm presence. She was holding 2 bowls this time, covered with foil. Steam escaped from the edges. "You made soup?" he asked, eyebrows raised. She smiled, more like I reheated soup. "Yes." He laughed, and it surprised him. It had been days since he heard that sound from himself. They sat down. She handed him a bowl and a spoon. "You look better," she said, her voice gentle. "I feel a little better." One day at a time, she nodded. "That's how it works." They ate in silence for a while. It was good soup. Simple. Comforting. It reminded him of something homey. Something human. Not red carpets and interviews. Not the pressure to perform. Just warmth and care. "Why are you doing this?" he asked finally. "You don't owe me anything." Anna put down her spoon and turned to face him. "Keanu, you were there for me when I almost quit everything. When I felt invisible, you reminded me who I was. You told me I mattered. That was a long time ago." "Kindness doesn't expire," she said softly. "And pain doesn't either. Not unless we help each other through it." Keanu looked down, eyes wet. He nodded. "Double quotes, I was tired of being seen, but never really seen," he said. "You see me?" "I always did," she whispered. The moment was quiet. Deep. No need to rush it. Then Keanu pulled out the carved figure and held it between them. "This helped more than you know," he said. Anna touched the figure gently, her fingers brushing his dot. "I thought about what we used to talk about. How you said acting sometimes feels like wearing a mask that never comes off." "Yeah," Keanu whispered. "What if you didn't have to wear it anymore?" she asked. He looked at her confused. "What do you mean?" Keanu pulled something from her bag, a script. "This isn't a big-budget film. It's something I wrote. It's quiet, small, real, about grief and healing. About 2 people who sit on a bench and talk." He stared at her, stunned. "You wrote this?" "I did. And I want you to be in it." "Anna, I haven't been on a set in months. I walked off the last one. This isn't that kind of set. And I'm not asking you to play a hero. I'm asking you to be yourself." Keanu opened the script slowly. The first page already hit him hard. Scene 1. He sits quietly in the rain. She brings warmth in a small paper cup. "You based it on last night," he said. Double quotes. "Partly," she nodded. "But also on everything we never said before." He didn't say yes, not yet, but he didn't say no either. He read in silence for while his fingers gripped the paper like it might disappear if he blinked. This feels like something I need," he admitted. "I know," she said. "Me too." He sat until the sky cleared, just a little. A soft patch of blue appeared, like hope. "Let's do it," he said finally. Anna smiled. And this time, Keanu smiled too. Asterisk, asterisk later that evening. Keanu returned home with the script in hand and a different kind of energy in his chest. Not quite. Happiness. But the start of something alive. He sat on his balcony, watching the sky grow darker. He didn't know where this story would lead. He didn't know if the world would understand what they were trying to say. But for the first time in a long while, he didn't feel like he had to be perfect. He just had to be present. And maybe that was enough. Lights, camera, healing. Next morning, Keanu woke up before the sun. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel like sleeping through the day. The script Anna gave him still lay beside his bed, with a few pages folded and highlighted from the night before. The lines weren't complex. They were quiet, real, and honest. Every scene felt like someone had written directly from his soul. He ran his fingers through his hair, looked out the window, and whispered to himself, one step at a time. He made coffee, but it didn't taste the same without Anna's oversweetened. Touchy smiled at that thought. Then his phone buzzed. Anna, I found a small studio space. Nothing fancy. It's perfect. Can you come today? He didn't reply right away. He needed a moment. Not to think, but to breathe. Then he typed, Keanu, I'll be there in 1 hour. The building wasn't much, just a converted warehouse, tucked between an old bookstore and a laundromat. But as Keanu stepped inside, the soft, warm lights and scattered props made it feel like magic. It didn't have the weight of Hollywood. It had the warmth of people trying to tell something true. Anna stood at the center, in jeans and a faded hoodie, adjusting the lighting with a young crew of 4. She turned the moment she heard the door open. You came, she smiled, wiping dust from her hands. You didn't make it easy to say no, he replied, voice low, but with a playful tone. She walked over and handed him a fresh cup of coffee. It was too sweet again, exactly how she made it. You ready? She asked. I think so, he said, taking a deep breath. I don't remember the last time I acted without makeup, suits, or explosions behind me. That's the point, Anna said. This is just us. Keanu looked around. The bench from the script was already placed in the middle of the room. Simple wooden slats, 2 chipped ends, a potted plant beside it. He ran his hand over the backrest. This reminds me of the one outside the old studio. I had it delivered from there, Anna said. His head turned. You what? That night, I couldn't stop thinking about how it felt. It's that bench, it's part of the story. He was silent and nodded slowly. Thank you. They rehearsed a few lines. It didn't feel like acting. It felt like remembering. Line, every silence between them, carried weight. The first scene they filmed was the bench, just like in real life. Keanu sat in the same posture, hands folded, lost in thought. Anna walked in holding a cup of coffee. You look like you're waiting for something that won't come. Double quotes. Cut. The crew didn't speak. There was no applause. Just a hush in the room. Even the camera operator looked like he had tears in his eyes. Anna smiled. You nailed it. I just lived it, Keanu said quietly. Later that day, they filmed a scene where their characters argued. It wasn't scripted to be loud or violent. It was the kind of argument built from silence, from unsaid things. The kind that grows slowly until one person finally breaks. You left when I needed you the most, Ina's character whispered. I didn't know how to stay, Keanu's character replied. I didn't even know how to stay with myself. Line wasn't in the script. Anna looked stunned, but she stayed in character and whispered, So what do we do now? Keanu didn't answer right away. His jaw clenched. His voice cracked. We start over. Double quotes cut. Anna stood there, frozen. Keanu, that wasn't in the script. He wiped his eyes. I know. It was better, she whispered. He nodded. It was true. The next week, they filmed every day. No pressure. No big names. Just honesty. Some days were hard. Keanu would freeze during a scene, haunted by memories the lines triggered. Anna never pushed him. She just sat beside him, sometimes holding his hand, sometimes saying nothing at all. One day after a long shoot, Keanu stayed behind to help the crew clean up. The youngest assistant, a shy girl named Leela, walked over nervously. Reeves. Just Keanu, he said, smiling gently. Keanu, she repeated, cheeks red. Can I say something? Of course You've changed the way I see movies. And pain. And people. He looked surprised. What do you mean? When you cried in that scene today. It didn't feel like acting. It felt like something I've felt before but never had words for. Keanu swallowed hard. Thank you. That means more than you know. She nodded and walked away quickly, too shy to say more. Keanu turned toward Anna, who had watched from the side. "You're doing more than making a film," she said. "You're helping people feel less alone." He looked down at his hands. "Maybe I'm finally learning how to heal." "We both are," she whispered. Asterisk, asterisk. That night, Keanu sat on his balcony again, this time with the carved figure in his hand and the script beside him. The city lights were dim, but they felt peaceful. His phone buzzed again. "Anna, you were amazing today." "Thank you for trusting me," he typed. "Keanu, thank you for showing up in the rain." The reply came instantly. "Anna, that was the easy part. Staying, that's what matters now." Keanu looked up at the stars. He wasn't healed. Not yet. But for the first time in a long while, he believed he could be. The day it all cracked open, following week, felt like a quiet miracle. Keanu woke up early, eager. Each morning brought something different, a new scene, a deeper moment. A memory rising from the past that found a place in the story. It was like something buried was being uncovered with each day of filming. Anna had that kind of magic. She didn't try to fix him. She didn't ask him to explain. She just created a space where he could feel safe being himself, even the broken parts. But healing is never a straight line, and on the 6th day of shooting, something cracked wide open. The scene was simple on paper. Keanu's character had to walk into a small bookstore, the same one next to their little studio, and search the shelves in silence. He was supposed to find an old book with a note tucked inside, a note written by Anna's character years earlier. It was a letter about loss, hope, and the small things that keep people going. But something happened when he picked up the book. His fingers trembled. He opened the cover. The crew had placed a real note inside. Handwritten, neat script. As scripted, but the words hit too close. "Some pain never leaves, but neither does love. That's what you taught me." His breath caught in his throat. His hand shook more violently now. The air around him tightened. The world suddenly spun. He dropped the book. The entire crew froze. Anna stepped forward instantly. Cut. Keanu didn't move, staring at the book like it had spoken aloud. Anna knelt beside him gently. "Keanu, what happened?" Was last at her, but his eyes were lost in a storm. That handwriting," he whispered. "It looks just like hers." Anna's face softened with realization. She reached for his hand but didn't force it. "You don't have to explain," she said softly. But he did. It's not for her, for himself. "It looks like Jennifer's writing." He said. The silence became sacred. Only a few people in the world truly knew about Jennifer, the woman Keanu had loved deeply. The one he lost decades ago in a tragic accident. He never spoke about her publicly, never shared her story. But it lived inside him, always. "I wasn't ready," he whispered. "Not for that." Anna stayed beside him on the bookstore floor, never letting go of his trembling hand. "You don't have to do the scene," she said. "We can change it." "No," he said firmly, after a long breath. "Don't change it. It's real." And real is what we promised, Anna nodded. But he still didn't get up. "I feel like I'm standing in a storm without an umbrella," he said quietly. "Then let me be the one beside you again," she replied. "Like I was in the rain." He closed his eyes. "This isn't acting anymore." "No," she agreed. "This is you. Healing." Oh, they took the rest of the day off. Keanu didn't go home. Instead, he and Anna walked through the city. No cameras, no scripts. Just two people who had seen too much of the world and still chose to care. They ended up sitting on a park bench. This time, there was no rain. Just a soft breeze and scattered leaves on the ground. Keanu looked up at the sky. "When I lost her, I thought life stopped. It didn't. It just became quieter, heavier." Anna didn't speak. She let his voice lead. "I buried myself in roles. Action scenes, scripts. I pretended to be strong for so long that I forgot how to just be weak." "It's okay to be weak," she whispered. "It means you're real." He turned to her. "I don't want to be John Wick anymore, or Neo, or whoever they expect. I just want to be Keanu. Then be Keanu, she said. That's who I came for.
Eyes.
His eyes welled up again. But this time, he didn't hide it. She leaned her head gently on his shoulder, and in that moment, under the quiet sky, something in him began to mend. The next morning, Keanu walked back into the studio. He wasn't afraid of the book now. He picked it up again, opened it, read the note. His hands didn't shake. He didn't drop it. He let a tear fall down his cheek. He didn't wipe it away. The camera rolled. The crew stayed silent. And when the director whispered cut, no one moved, because everyone knew. Something real had just happened. After filming wrapped that day, Yana found Keanu sitting outside on the bench again. He held the carved figure in one hand and the script in the other. How do you feel? She asked. Exposed, he said with a soft laugh, but lighter. Like you left something behind? Like I finally stopped carrying something I didn't have to carry alone? Anna reached into her coat pocket and handed him something. Another figure this time, small carved version of her. She smiled. Now, they're a pair. Keanu stared at both figures, one in each hand. Thank you, he said. Thank you. For trusting me with the part of you no one else sees? He looked at her, voice full of quiet emotion. You brought me back. No, Anna whispered. You were always here. No, you just needed someone to remind you. When the world finally noticed, said 2 weeks had passed since Keanu first walked onto that tiny set, holding nothing but a broken spirit and a carved wooden figure. Now, he walked in with quiet strength, the kind that didn't need to speak loudly. To be felt, the crew had changed too. They weren't just workers on a set anymore. They were believers. They'd seen something rare happening in front of them. Not a movie, not a performance, something living, though something honest. Word had started to spread. Someone had posted a short behind-the-scenes video. No fancy editing, no flashy music. Just a moment where Keanu sat with his head bowed on the bookstore floor. Anna knelt beside him in silence, holding his hand. The video had gone viral within hours. The comments poured in. This is the kind of film we need. I've never seen grief shown like this before. I didn't even know he still made films. But now I want to see everything he touches. Keanu didn't expect any of it. He didn't want it either. Not the attention. But he couldn't deny the truth. People were connecting with the story. And maybe that meant something. Anna knocked gently on his door the next morning. Holding breakfast in a paper bag, he opened it. Still in a soft flannel shirt and loose jeans, barefoot. You're becoming human again, she teased. Don't get used to it, he smiled. They sat on his balcony, eating croissants and sipping. Too sweet coffee. Anna pulled out her phone. Do you want to see the reactions? He hesitated. Not really, but maybe I should. She handed it over. Keanu scrolled slowly. Videos, clips, reactions, reviews, people crying, people opening up about their own pain. Strangers thanking him for a story they hadn't even seen fully yet. We haven't even released it, he whispered. But the world already feels it, Anna said. He looked at her. How did you know this would happen? She replied, I just followed the truth. You brought the truth with you. Keanu leaned back, eyes on the sky. Do you think it's time to release the trailer? She asked. He nodded. Anna smiled. Then let's do it together. The next day, they released a 1-minute trailer. No background music, just dialogue from one of their quietest scenes, Anna's voice. Some pain never leaves, but neither does love, Keanu's voice. I thought I lost everything, but maybe I just forgot where to look. The trailer ended with a shot of the bench, just the bench. Empty, it spread like fire. Film. Critics reached out. Independent studios made offers. Actors and artists praised the rawness. No big studio, no explosions, no makeup. Just two people who dared to show their scars. Keanu sat quietly in his apartment that night. Phone turned off. Anna knocked again. This time, she didn't bring coffee or food. She brought silence. She sat beside him on the floor. They didn't speak for a long time. And then Keanu whispered, It's strange. What is? She asked, I spent years trying to be invisible. Now people finally see me, but not the version I built. They see me. Anna reached for his hand. And they love you for it. Do you? He asked without looking at her. She turned toward him and never stopped. His eyes filled, but he didn't cry this time. He just closed them. I don't know what happens next, he said. We keep going, she said. One step at a time. A few days later, they held a private screening in a small theater. No red carpet, just chairs. Quiet lighting and people who cared. Keanu stood near the back wearing a simple black shirt and jeans. Anna was beside him, dressed in a faded blue sweater. The film began. The first scene played. Keanu in the rain, alone, lost, then Anna walked. People in the room didn't move, not even to cough. Some wiped their eyes quietly. Others just stared. When the final scene faded to black, there was silence, not the kind that comes from boredom, the kind that follows something sacred, then applause, soft, slow, then growing louder. Not the kind meant for a blockbuster, the kind that says, "Thank you for showing us something real." Keanu didn't go on stage, stayed in the back. Anna reached for his hand. You okay? She whispered. He nodded. Better than okay. Walked out together. Outside the air was cool. Keanu looked up at the stars again. It's the way he always did when he needed peace. Do you ever wonder, he said softly, why certain people come back into your life when they do? Anna said, but now I think we come back when we're meant to, when we're finally ready. He looked at her. Not as a co-star. Not as an old friend, as the one person who had walked with him when he was lost in the dark. Thank you for not giving up on me. He said, you never gave up on me, she replied. I was just returning the favor. He smiled, that quiet, deep smile that meant something had healed. Not everything, but enough. The party never played until now. Sun was rising slow and soft over the hills as Keanu stood by the lake just outside the city. It was early, too early for anyone else to be there, but that's exactly why he came. Calm water reflected the sky like a quiet mirror. Birds chirped, trees rustled gently, and everything felt still. He had brought the two carved figures with him, the ones Anna had given him. They were in his hands, smooth and worn from the days he held them often. They weren't just symbols anymore. They were part of the journey. Reminders of who he was and who he chose to become. Behind him, soft. Footsteps crunched over the gravel. I figured you'd be here. Anna's voice said, warm and familiar. Keanu turned and smiled. How do you know? You told me once. When you're unsure, you find water. He nodded. I guess I did. She stepped beside him, looking out over the lake. For a long moment, they didn't speak. They didn't need to. Everything that needed to be said had already been spoken through film, through silence, through the simple act of staying. The film goes public tonight, she said gently. Are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. What do you think people will say? He shrugged. Some will love it, some won't understand it, but that's okay. We didn't make it for noise. We made it for the quiet ones. Looked at him with pride. And what about you? Are you ready for what comes after? Keanu thought for a moment. I spent years playing parts, action heroes, men with guns and sorrow in their eyes. But this was the first time I didn't play anything. He turned to her, voice full of something new. Peace. I didn't act this time. I just lived. Anna smiled. Then maybe this was the role you waited your whole life for. That evening, the film launched quietly online. No press event. No interviews. Just a simple link shared on their social media accounts with the words, "This isn't a movie, it's a memory we healed through. We hope it helps you heal too." Within hours, views poured in. Comments, reactions, messages from strangers around. The world, I watched this after losing my father, gave me a moment of peace. I cried through the whole film, not because it was sad, but because it felt like someone finally understood. Thank you, Keanu. Thank you, Anna. This was more than a story. It was a lifeline. Keanu didn't read them all. He didn't need to, because something inside him had shifted. Fully and finally. He sat on the same bench again, one they had filmed on, now placed near the edge of the studio's rooftop garden. Anna joined him, holding 2 mugs of coffee. Way too sweet, he laughed as he sipped. Still tastes like childhood sugar. Some things don't change, she smiled. But some do, he added. He pulled something out from his coat pocket, a letter, folded neatly. "What's this?" she asked. "Something I wrote a long time ago. Never sent." It was meant for Jennifer. Anna held the letter gently. "Do you want me to read it?" she asked. "No," he said quietly. "I want to read it aloud." She nodded and leaned in as he opened it with shaking hands and began to read. His voice trembled. But it didn't break. He read every word, about loss, about love, about guilt, and about how somehow, even after everything, life kept showing up in new ways. When he finished, he folded the letter again and set it beside the two carved figures. "I don't think I ever really said goodbye," said softly. Anna placed her hand over his. "You just did." Weeks passed. The film was nominated for awards, but that didn't matter to Keanu. What mattered were the letters he received from people who'd never seen a camera up close. A young boy who lost his mother, an old woman whose husband passed away during the pandemic, a soldier who returned home and didn't recognize his own face in the mirror. They all said the same thing: "You made me feel less alone." Keanu sat with Anna on the bench again, one evening just before sunset. She looked over at him. "So what now?" Took a deep breath. "Now we live. Not for the next role, not for the next award, just for the next day." She smiled. "Like to live beside you." He turned to her, eyes full of quiet gratitude. "Then let's stay beside each other. Through rain and whatever comes after." And as the sun dipped behind the skyline, Keanu Reeves, the man the world thought they knew, finally felt like he belonged to himself. Again, not as a star, not as a legend, just as a man who once sat in the rain, was waiting, and found someone who brought the sun with her.